Hi there again, everybody. Mrs. Pinkham is back with you to play a new game today called Close Call. Close Call is a game where you can practice addition or subtraction skills. There's a variety of ways you can score it, but it's primarily to help you develop either addition or subtraction skills, like I said, or also to practice some number sets, because the object is to get as close to 100 as you can, or if you choose to play as subtraction, the closest to 0 you can get. So you play with a regular deck of cards. If you want to ahead of time sort out your face cards and your tens and get rid of them, that's fine. You can keep your jokers if you still have them in your decks because they can be zeros. The aces, of course, are 1. So you can do it a couple of different ways. You can deal out simply 4 cards to each player, and you can create 2 two-digit numbers. For a little bit more variety, you can deal out 3 cards to each player, and you can select 2 cards to make a 2-digit number and another 2 cards to make a separate 2-digit number. That way you give yourself a little bit more variety. Once you've played the cards out of the set of 6, 2 remain, you only deal 4 cards the next time. You also can choose to have a little bit more of a challenge. So say, for example, if you got a red card and a black card like this, the reds can be positive numbers, the blacks can be negative numbers. So if I did a positive 4 and I add a negative 1, this would end up being a positive 3, which makes it be 3 away from 0. Okay? But that's for my 5th graders that are practicing possibly with integer adding and subtracting. So I'm going to just go with the basic directions of adding 2 two-digit numbers for right now. So you can score it a couple of different ways. Your score can be simply how close you were to 100, or it can be the person that's closest to 100 scores 1 point. So if you choose to just have it be how far away you were from 100, at the end of the game, you're going to add up all of those differences, and the person with the lowest total would win. If you choose to play at the closest to 100 gets 1 point, the person that gets more points in that regard would win. So either the lowest total difference from 100 or the most times you were closest to 100 by adding up those 1 point scores. If by chance you get a tie, so say somebody got a 95 and the other person got a 95, you could choose to score it as you both get nothing or you both get 1 because it was a tie. That will be up to you. So I've developed a little bit of a score sheet here just to kind of give you a sense of what it would look like. So you can play up to 10 rounds, however many you'd like. Your equations can be written down the middle. So I have an example there of 67 plus 28, which would make 95. So if that was, for example, a set of cards that I used, I could score either 5 if I want the difference from 100, or if I ended up being the closest to 100, I would get 1 point for that. Okay? That's just a kind of an idea of how to use it. So let me deal out my cards that I'm going to use for my game. So I got a 7, a 3, an 8, and a 4. So I'm going to manipulate those cards to see how close I can get to 100 without going over. So I'm going to need to probably stick with my 40s and my 30s, because if I had an 80 and a 30, that would be 110. And if I did an 80 and a 40, that would be 100 in teens. If I did 70 and 30, and then I still have numbers in the ones place, that would get me over 100 and so forth. So I'm going to start and I'm going to build the highest numbers that I can. So 38 and 47. So if I start adding and do my tens places first, 30 plus 40 would simply be 70. And then 8 plus 7 would be 15. So if I put 70 and 15 together, that would be 85. So 85 could be my score, or it could be 15 because I'm 15 away from 100. Or if 85 ends up being the lowest number, or the closest rather, to 100, then I could score the 1 point. So I got a 4 and a 9, and a 5 and an 8. So let's see what I can do with those. Well, I'm going to do 49 plus 51, because that, right off the bat, I know they're both only 1 away from 50. So 50 plus 50 would be 100. So 51 plus 49, 1 more than 50, 1 less than 50. would equal 100. So if that was my equation, I would have won that game. I would get 1 point for being closest to 100 because I made it right to the 100, or I could score 0 because there was no difference. So those are a couple of the options. So again, if you wanted to do it as subtraction, you could do two-digit numbers. So say 48 minus 47, I would have 1 as my difference of those two numbers, which would give me only 1 away from 0. So say then I did 51 minus 39, that would be a score of 12, that my difference would be. So I would either be 12 away from 0, or I would score 0 points because the other person was closer to 0. So again, the game is called Close Call. You can do it in a variety of ways, adding positive and negative numbers, subtracting numbers getting closest to 0, adding numbers getting closest to 100. But again, it's whatever skill you want to practice. Maybe one day you can try it with addition, one day, again, you can try it with subtraction. The variety is up to you. Hope you have fun, and I hope you try out the game. Have a great day.